My name is Mr. Bohl, and I teach psychology, the on-level version of it. So,
How do you recommend students prepare for a test in this class?
so in this class, we have a lot of different review materials that are available that I really encourage students to use. The biggest one is start of every unit. We have the learning targets that are broken down into not just the learning target, but also into the core questions that go with it. So that's resource number one. And that's something that I encourage people to fill out as we do those things in class. But then besides that, we do a lot of practice assignments along the way. For Psych specifically, we have a lot of in-schoology, test style questions. They are graded, but they are meant to help you study. So in general, most of them have, you take it 3, you have the ability to take it 3 or 4 times, so that you really can kind of see and work through it to help get you ready for the test. Other than that, talking to classmates, taking notes, the things that you would do in most other classes are meant to help you be successful here as well.
What is the number one thing students should do in order to succeed in this class?
The number one thing is to be present, both physically and mentally. We don't have a lot of homework in this class. The only potential homework tends to be doing those practice assignments I just talked about. If you do them more than once, then after the first time you're probably doing it outside of class. But otherwise, we do a lot of activities, a lot of hands-on things where you're actually applying what you're learning. So being here physically is a great start, but then also paying attention and being willing to be involved in it helps to make those connections and really helps to make this class sink in and kind of start to see the everyday experiences of it. So.
What is the format of a typical class?
A typical class will generally, what we do is we go through some notes, we talk about a topic, and then we start to apply it. So we'll talk through the topic, the first topic of the day, and then kind of have an activity or application process of it. And that'll look different depending on what the topic is, but generally that's what we do. And then we move on to the next topic and we do kind of the same thing. We intersperse a lot of video into it too, so that students can see the actual studies of it and hear the people who ran them talk through it. But we do a lot of things to make it relevant, to start pulling out, like I've said before, pull out those examples from your everyday life, because a lot of these things, especially the way that we cover them in class, students have already experienced.
How does a student maintain success in this class?
To maintain success in this class, I think one of the biggest things is asking questions. Being here and being present is great, but to maintain that success, really just being willing to ask questions when you don't understand things, and being willing to be involved in the actual participation parts of the class. Because the whole point of those participation things is to give you, the student, the experience that you can remember back to when you're being assessed on it, so that you can go through and think about, okay, I did this on that day, I was involved in this activity, and that's kind of what we hope grounds you in that experience, so that it's easier to remember and maintain that success.
What type of student would you recommend to take this class?
Anyone. I think the biggest differentiator for this class, I think anyone can take this. If you're looking to be a little bit more academically challenged and to go deeper into some of these things, then I would probably suggest AP Psychology. But I think anyone can take this class and have success. So it really is just a matter of not who should take it, it's who should or shouldn't take it, or who we're looking for. It's really if you think you're gonna like everything that I've said about the course, but you want to go a little bit more in depth on it, then AP might be the route, but otherwise, come and join.
How much is the homework load on a typical day?
I said, I think for the most part we do things in class. So homework would be just the practice assessments that I've talked about, and if you want to take it more than once, if you're not happy with your first score. But other than that, it would just be studying and going through the learning targets and practicing with the material. So not a whole lot of homework in this one.
What is the format of summative assignments?
For this, the academic achievement assignments are. The academic achievement assignments are we do tests, traditional multiple choice tests where you're taking the application, you're taking a topic and you're applying it. So a little bit more of a traditional route, but again, using those experiences that we have in class to be able to go through and understand them. We don't do papers in this class. There's not a ton of writing. There are units where we'll write more than others, but the assessments tend to be multiple choices.
What kind of projects do you assign in this class?
We take some of the more famous studies. The one that first comes to mind is that students will do a naturalistic observation, which I'm not going to spoil because it's a fun one, and I don't want that to be spoiled for any potential students. But for projects, we break down some of the things that you can see as relevant in your life and have you think more deeply on them, and